This is a live custom halftone effect using Texturelabs Retrotone. This is a plugin for creating fully adjustable print style halftones in Photoshop with custom ink colors that map to your artwork, multiple pattern styles, and inks that stack and blend the way they do in a real print. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Brady here, and if you follow Texturelabs, you know there's one subject that I always come back to, halftones. But Photoshop's halftone tools haven't really changed in literally decades, so I've had myself locked away in the lab working on building something new, effectively an entirely new halftone engine for Photoshop, the Retrotone plugin. I'm very excited to finally share it with you guys, so let's jump right in and take a look. Here in Photoshop with the Retrotone panel, which also includes a presets panel, I can select a single layer or multiple layers and hit apply to get an effect going. That converts everything into a smart object, and we now have a live halftone effect to work with. We can get started by checking out a few different presets. The plugin comes with 100 presets. You can also save your own presets as you develop your own custom halftone styles using all the controls over here. So right now we are set to print dots, which are not just perfect circles, but these more analog print style dots called Euclidean dots. Or we can use line patterns, wave patterns, broken wave patterns, fan dot patterns. We can change the scale of the halftone pattern. The patterns can be nice and clean, or we can give them some distress. Lots to experiment with, but down here in the ink colors section is where things get really interesting. What the plugin is doing is looking at all of the possible combinations of your selected ink colors and choosing the best mix to rebuild the image. So if I swap this blue ink for a sampled purple, the plugin's gonna recalculate the image using the best matching colors it has available. Individual ink colors can be turned on or off, and we're gonna get totally different results with each combination. We can change the alignment of the different inks, give them some faded color and imperfections, and even control how the colors combine with each other. So let's say we're printing blue and orange on a white background. And the blue and the orange ink can multiply together to create this darker tone, but in the real world, inks don't always multiply together in such a pure way. So what if this ink is more like paint and it doesn't multiply at all? Then the plugin's gonna figure out how to best represent the image using pure blue and pure orange. But what really tends to happen in printing, especially with something like a plastisol ink, is that the ink sort of multiplies and is sort of opaque. This is like an impossible blend mode halfway between normal and multiply, and it ends up giving us a really nice analog mixture of colors. And keep in mind, orange on top of blue is not the same as blue on top of orange. So depending on how the colors are set up, effectively the order that they get printed, we're gonna get totally different results. I also want to point out that the background color also gets worked into the color matching logic. So let's say we're designing for a black t-shirt. I can set the background color to black, but the inks are now multiplying over black. That's not good. So I can either make the inks more opaque or set the bottom ink color to white and turn on opaque bottom ink. That forces the bottom ink into normal blend mode, just like in printing where you might use a solid base coat and then the other ink colors can multiply on top of that. At any point, we can also convert to layers. That outputs one finalized layer per ink plus the backgrounds, and we can even use those to set up passes for a real physical print. There's also tint mode. Here, instead of color matching, your inks behave more like a gradient map. You can control where each ink lives in the shadows, midtones, and highlights. So this is great for monochromatic newsprint looks, duotones, or in this preset, we've actually got 4 black inks at different angles, which creates this stacked crosshatch effect. So those are the basics of the plugin, but let's push things a little bit further. Back to our main composition, this time with some typography, a few additional layers, and one of my favorite effects is combining different halftone styles. So I'm gonna duplicate this image layer and switch the pattern to waves. And then I'm gonna mask this layer so the waves only appear in certain areas, maybe just in this main figure. And the mix of pattern styles really creates a nice hand tone detail. When it comes to typography though, traditional printing wouldn't actually halftone this crisp type, but it would still be printed using the same inks. So I can switch the pattern to none. That's gonna recreate the layer using solid inks only. So images get halftoned, type stays sharp, and I can even select all of these layers and make a change to a single property like the ink fade amount. It's gonna take a moment because the plugin's now one by one gonna change the fade amount for each of these layers while keeping all of the other individual characteristics intact. Additionally, if I have multiple Retratone layers selected, I get this option instead of convert to layers to convert and consolidate. That's going to take all of these layers, any masks, stacking order, halftone styles, and output a clean set of final ink plates. I can undo and redo that. Visually, nothing changes, but now the entire composition has been output to just these 4 final ink layers. I can overlay a bit of folded paper texture on top, and we've ended up with a really detailed vintage print effect. Let's do a quick side-by-side Photoshop's Color Halftone filter versus Retrotone. I'm really excited for you guys to try this out. I will include a link below. More on the way from the Texturelabs channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.